Hey Ryan, so to here with today to talk about the projects that you guys are doing for this social justice class, I wanted to ask you, what is your project?
My project is exploring ethics in engineering.
Okay, and why did you decide to do this project?
Recently there's been some good examples of companies that have been doing some shady things, so I want to explore more of that and how engineers working for that company can sort of make the right decision based on what they believe is right.
And what do you hope to accomplish through this project?
I just want people to learn more about maybe the commanding position of like the orders coming to them and seeing if what they're doing is actually ethical, or if it's not, then they should be able to question that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Hey Somi, so I wanted to ask you about your project as well. What is your project for this social justice class?
So my project is an alternative tour of the engineering campus of UIUC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna go into some of the details that aren't really covered. So the corporations that help build and sponsor these buildings, like kind of what are their ethics and social unrest and protests that have happened on the engineering campus. Controversial figures that the buildings are named after.
Okay.
Things like that.
Oh, that's really cool. And what do you hope to accomplish from this?
I hope to just maybe spread awareness of the figures and the corporations that engineers look up to, but
Right.
they've done some not so great things.
Well, thank you, Somi. All right. Hey, Punimi, so we're here today talking about the social justice projects. I just wanted to ask you what your project was.
So my project's main aim is to educate engineers that there are interdisciplinary fields out there where you can use your engineering skills to make a social impact. So making a social impact or working on social justice problems don't have to be different from your engineering career. So people usually look at these two aspects as two different things, that engineering and social justice fields cannot overlap, and that they don't overlap, and this social justice thing will have to be kind of a part-time thing that you do after your job as volunteering. But I just want to educate engineers that there is research being done on campus where if you do want to use your engineering skills for this, I just want to connect them to those opportunities and maybe improve some networking between companies and companies that do this kind of work with students.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm basically doing is I'm working with engineering career services to design a kind of a program or a social justice career fair or
Mm-hmm,
something
mm-hmm.
that could keep going on even after I graduate. It's not a one semester project kind
Okay.
of thing, but just a framework that they could use. So I'm making a packet to give to them that so an example would be companies could check off social justice in one of the requirements that they have, or they could I guess when they're marketing themselves, they could say, oh, we're looking for engineers who do have a social justice.
Okay, and why did you decide to do this? You answered all of the questions, so this is the last one that you'll have to do.
Okay, why I decided to do this was, I guess personally, I've always I've said this before, but I always thought my physicist career, that interest would always have to be very separate from my social justice
Mm-hmm.
interest, or at least the interest doesn't have to be separate, but the work that I do to pursue these two interests will have to be separate. It'll have to be done in two different institutes, or this would be done in an NGO, or that would be done at maybe a tech firm or something.
Right,
But
and you
there-
wanted to find some mesh between.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there are many jobs out there where you could get paid doing both, and people don't know about that
Right.
enough. But yeah,
Okay, well, thank you, Punami.
thank you.
Hey, Hanny, we just wanted to talk to you about your social justice project. I just wanted to ask you, what is your project exactly?
So my project is to go to the engineering senior design courses in electrical engineering and computer science. And at the beginning of those courses, they have all of this different groups of students need to choose a project that they'll focus on for the year or the semester. And the selection process for those projects, it's largely that the students come up with it, though there is opportunity for corporate sponsorship. And so many of the projects that get chosen are essentially for funsies, like let's build a thing because we're curious. But instead, I'm providing a repository of social justice-oriented projects that span a multitude of problems and technical skills that are based off my experience as a practicing engineer that are very feasible and very implementable, and based off what I've learned from this course are fairly well conceived. And I'm presenting that within a framework of how one can go about designing for the needs of a community, rather than exclusively designing according to the capabilities of the technology.
Okay. Why did you decide to do this project?
So this particular project, over many of the other project ideas, makes good use of my my background. I have a very interdisciplinary background, and know that with my unique skill set that spans like from psych to neuro to computer science to electrical engineering and computer engineering, and robotics, machine learning, a very wide background. With the amount of exposure that I have the ability to gauge a lot of potential uses of technology where they are not typically focused. So many of the projects that are proposed in your that might have to do with image classification, use machine learning methodologies, and you need to be, in order to propose reasonable possible projects, you need to have a sufficient engineering background in that particular space to know the capabilities and limits. And so like one of the projects that's in the repository, or project proposals in the repository and available for attempting, is an anti-harassment image classifier, such that instead of someone sending you, it's a well-known problem that people on the internet will send offensive images to often minority individuals who and they do this essentially as a means of harassment, and instead we can just use existing image classification to block that.
Okay. And what do you hope to achieve with this project?
So I'm hoping to have, by creating this repository, it's available for use by students to build a project, but then the downstream consequences and the ripple effects are hopefully much larger. I'm hoping around when a student does a senior design project, I know that's often a conversation topic both with recruiters and also with future engineers who they interact with in their jobs. And so these projects are something that people will talk about over and over and over again for the next decade. With tackling these projects, hopefully, not all student, undergrad, senior design projects are successful, but any degree of addressing one of these problems is better than none as well. So
thank you, Henny.
Thank you.
Hey, Angel, I just came here to talk to you about your social justice project in this class. What is your project exactly?
So my project is actually a visual art installation piece, and I hope to install it on this quad, our engineering quad at Illinois. And I want it to focus on the metaphor of the chilly climate, so basically sexism in STEM field and what the work environment is like for women.
Okay. Why did you want to do this project?
I wanted to do this project because I just have so many peers, and me myself, I do study mathematics, and I just know the undertones that have to do with the work environment, how that affects women, how stereotype affects women, and I just want to shed some light on it and get the conversation started on this campus.
Okay. And what do you hope to accomplish with this project?
I hope to basically get U of I students talking about this, get them curious. If I could get engineer students talking about this, really students of all disciplines. I just want them thinking about these issues and knowing that they're important.
Okay. Thank you, Angel.